telling you, these Kirby games are really getting to the better of me. I think I need to take a break from them for a while. I need to do something to relax. My grandfather once said that one of the most relaxing things you can do when you're stressed out is play around at golf. But I tried that once, and
don't forget, folks, to keep your eye on the ball.
Nothing but just total and utter bullshit followed. I don't know if I can do that. It's an activity that requires patience, something I lack a lot. But I love golf, and I love Kirby more. But there just doesn't seem to be a compromise that we can work out. Or is there?
Now in a golf-like world that doesn't really function like golf, Kirby embarks on yet another adventure. And of course it has a feature that a lot of SNES games had back in the mid-90s. You can play a two-player game, you know, just in case you wanted to fuck up a relationship or a friendship or what have you. However, we're just gonna go solo this time because I don't have all day, okay? Want me to sign my name? Sure, I love playing around with something that gives you absolutely no restrictions on what you put as your signature. Alright, that's enough rambling, we got a course to run. Now this particular sequence essentially shows the object of the game, and in hindsight, I really wish I had observed this a little more carefully. This doesn't look so bad. Of course, I have said that several times before. I'm afraid I don't have any wood nearby to knock on. Now in a game of golf, they say to be the ball. How's about we just go ahead and put that in the literal sense? That's gonna hurt in the morning. And is it me, or does this particular hole seem to function more like pool than golf? That's one down, 64 to go. Buckle up, bitches. You heard me right, 8 holes, 8 courses, plus DDD at the end, which technically isn't even a hole. So yeah, as you saw, you gotta be wise which enemies you kill first, because the hole could appear anywhere depending on which order you mow them down in. But it does help tremendously if you aim right and hit the damn thing, you know? That's very important because each kill restores a hit point. But in the event you want a bitch slap instead of a love tap, you can switch up your shot to more closely meet the standards of golf. Knowledge of what kind of shot you're taking will become practically mandatory in holes to come, especially if you want to pull off a trick shot like this. Like a glove. Unfortunately, we're getting into territory where there's very little room for error. You've got to develop some good strategies, don't ever get impatient, and use everything the map has to offer to your fullest ability. Don't you wish I'd thought about that from the get-go? Hell, I was so focused on getting in the hole that I forgot about my copy ability.
I know how tempting it is, but please, for the love of God, do not get dirty with what I just said.
There's no time for having a hissy fit, you gotta play like your life depends on it. No, seriously, sometimes your life rides on one shot. As we close out the first course, it appears this game has already picked up on my dry humor. Yeah, get it? Dry, no water, shut up. And if I may continue with the horrible puns, do you know what I have to say about the developers of this game? Their minds are just warped. Don't you think they're taking this just a little bit over the edge? Alright, enough of my smart alecky self, let's just finish this up. Oh, and by the way, Kirk, Picard, if any of you guys are watching this, look, a literal starship. Of course, you think you've done pretty good, until you look at your scorecard, and the rankings. Oh, notice spot number 4, yeah, I gave this a go earlier, but everything from here on out is blind. In fact, it was by viewing this sequence that I found out there were fucking abilities in the game. At this point, you've got to keep shot variation in mind because there are airborne targets. As a pretty religious Kirby gamer, I felt pretty fucking stupid when I found out that I wasn't even using my abilities up until this point. Can you imagine? I bet that without that sudden realization, I would be getting nowhere right now. And of course, once I got that confidence, I started trying a little too hard to pull off some trick shots or whatnot. And there are many points in this game where there is such thing as too much confidence. Case in point, observe. Hey, you might say my expectations fell short there. And to be honest, they kind of fell short here too. Now we're in a much more dire situation. We are dealing with no lives, and we're losing hit points. Pray like hell, do whatever you will in hopes that I make it never mind. I gotta say, in comparison with previous Kirby games, this is a pretty soft-spoken game over screen. The particularly violent continuation makes up for it, though. Ride 'em, cowboy. I mean, Kirby. I'm very pleased to have also recorded my first hole-in-one in the retry of this course. But if I may continue to crack jokes that are cornier in the state of Iowa, this is where I started going downhill. And get this, I also forgot that lightning is a golfer's kryptonite. I am shocked and appalled that you would do something like that to me. Sorry, I just needed to vent. Thankfully I made up for that by sinking a damn good shot. What'd I tell you? I'm doing fine. I knew I'd bounce back from that eventually. Despite my luck, however, I know in the back of my mind I'm gonna keep running into some rage-worthy situations like this one. Talk about insult to injury, but there are times, however, when the game actually lends a hand for once. Who'd have thought? God damn, I feel like I've been playing this forever and I'm, what, only a third of the way in? Now I've come to that point in the game where I gotta use some good tricks and strategies to pull shit off, and this is also where the abilities become redonkulously important. You can use the ice ability to glide across a large body of water, and you can use the tornado ability, you know, as a last-ditch effort to get in the damn hole. You know, just to save yourself a few gray hairs. Having experienced plenty in real life, I am no stranger to curveballs. But when the situation seems right, I like to be a show-off sometimes. I like to impress with my finesse, if you get my drift. Speaking of real life and speaking of curveballs, you'll notice the more they happen that there is a bit of a connection between this game and your life. And it is that you're used, you're washed up, and nobody loves you. But I sure as hell hope you're not beaten and left for dead. They say don't be a wet blanket, or in this case, a wet Kirby. To tell you the truth, on this particular course, I kinda exceeded my own expectations. I mean, I did really well, didn't I? Just 1 point behind the leader, and for my superb second place performance, I got a bronze medal?
So wait a minute, you're telling me that the kind of medal I get is based on my score instead of my ranking? I'm not saying that's a bad thing, I'm just saying it's awkward that the first place position doesn't have a gold medal.
Now the object of the game is no longer just launching yourself in the right direction, things are getting a little crazy. And I must mention, I absolutely love it when my hard-earned progress goes ass backwards on itself. I've had my fair share of misfortunes in this game, but as they say, ice and easy does it. I would typically scream in situations like this, but I don't have any soundproofing at my place. Did I mention things were getting crazy? No. This is pure insanity we're talking about. And were you studying my trick shots earlier? I sure hope you were, because at this point you pretty much have to pull them off to get a good scorecard. Luck's gotta be on your side, and you have to believe in perfection if you want to pull off an extreme hole-in-one like, well, what you're about to see. But now let me show you an unintentional skill. I scored a 1, a 2, and a 3 on each of their respective holes. Even though I am getting really good at nailing these shots, I'm still not lacking in epic fails here and there. Yeah, I can hear you laughing at them right now. Boy, I sure am rising up in the ranks, but as they say, it's not over till it's over. So while I was taking this particular course for a spin, I found a point where I seemed to be playing more basketball than golf. Kirby Bryant, if you will. Now we're on the home stretch. But only if I do things properly. It is a long and winding road though. I gotta have confidence, I gotta have patience, and I just gotta do my best. I wish I could apply all that shit to real life. In addition to having to pretty much nail these shots perfectly, I'm seeing increasing reliance on the infamous UFO Kirby. Except somehow I did it right this time. You wanna talk about some good house cleaning? This is how you do it. And on these last few holes before the final boss, you gotta get ready to go long, and I mean long, damn you. And I'm talking with these warp pads, you won't even know which way is forward and which way is backwards. You hit one of them, you'll be ported to the last place you think you'll be ported. But thankfully, after a few redundant water shots, we are finally ready to wrap this up. At long last, we're homeward bound. Hopefully this DDD match won't be a bitch like some of the other ones are. I must say, however, that DDD's appearance onto the map seemed far more dramatic than I think it needed to be. There's that little squirt. I don't think this should be so bad. Maybe it will. Well, that took an unexpected turn, but I believe I'll be able to knock him out by myself. Yes, an adorable, fluffy pink ball will be enough to take down this fucking abomination. Totally logical, right? What's that thing made of anyway? Rusty tinfoil? Well, looks like I also hit the Make DDD's Floating Island Blow Up button. Release the Lucky Charms marshmallows!
It's magically delicious. Although I feel like this game's missing something. Ah, yes, of course. Because you can never end a Kirby game without a little bit of originality.